You're watching CNET, the digital domain.
Plus, how to get internet access for life and what exactly is a firewall.
And we'll head out traveling on the best of the web and show you how to get your feet to do the mousing right now on CNET Central.
Now, from the #1 on-air and online information source for the digital age, this is CNET Central.
Hi, I'm Richard Hart.
And I'm Gina St.John. Welcome to CNET Central.
America Online is the world's largest online service, one of the most popular ways to access the net. Since October, membership has jumped more than 12%, and usage has nearly tripled to an average of 4.3 million hours online a day.
AOL's new flat-rate all-you-can-use pricing plan is credited for much of the growth, but it may also be to blame for a growing list of troubles.
Yeah, system crashes, frequent busy signals, and spotty customer service are all common complaints, and a half-dozen class-action lawsuits accuse AOL of offering service it can't deliver, namely online access. We sent reporter Justin Gunn to find out how the company plans to fix the problems and keep the customers happy.
America Online's billion-dollar success can be credited almost entirely to you. That is, if you're one of its 8 million members. But with success comes competition, and to keep up with competitors, AOL recently offered unlimited internet access for just $19.95 a month. And that sounds pretty good. Unfortunately, that's what a lot of people thought. So many, in fact, that the system has become overloaded. So now, instead of unlimited access, it's becoming a little bit more like unlikely access.
Every time I've tried it at home about a half a dozen times, I haven't been able to get through.
But it's been kind of a hassle.
First of all, I'm sorry they can't get online. It's not what I want to happen. I want them to be able to dial a phone one time, hear it ring, hear that awful modem sound, and get on AOL and be happy.
But for David Gang, AOL's Senior Vice President of Product Marketing, trying to keep the subscribers happy is just one of several problems he's faced since offering the new pricing plan.
Recently, AOL has gone through tremendous growth. Number of subscribers has increased. The amount of time that subscribers spend online has increased. Why not increase capacity before the new pricing plan?
I think the decision was get it to people as fast as we can, grow the system as fast as we can, and people are working long hours to try and make it happen. So I think it was the absolute right thing to do.
But some critics, like Robert Seidman, editor of NetGuide magazine, think AOL should have been better prepared for this onslaught of new members.
I think that they knew what was going to happen. I think they knew that there would be an influx. I think that they also knew that they would not be able to support it, that they knew that the problems that are going on they would be able to handle, but that they figured that they can get through this.
Even beyond the hassle of not getting through, some subscribers are even running into billing problems.
I have here a credit card statement from my boss, actually, who was on a $4.95 a month plan and wanted to stay there and said that he clicked the button to stay there. And it says $19.95. He was billed for the new plan.
For the entire month of November, we highlighted the new pricing plans all over the service. And then in December, when you signed on, you got a pop-up to make a choice. And you could choose $4.95 or $9.95. And something happened where that didn't take. And so our plan is, as soon as members call up and say, this isn't right, we fix their credit card bill.
To counter these problems, which have led to class action lawsuits by some of its members, AOL's come up with quick solutions. First, putting an extra $100 million towards network expansion, then cutting back on marketing, and finally pleading with users to spend less time online. But some industry analysts note that trying to sustain member longevity and keep up with competition can prove a difficult balancing act.
They're getting a lot more competition from a lot of different areas, so they need to offer the flat rate pricing, but at the same time, they've got to be careful not to max themselves out so that they alienate people not only from AOL, but from the internet.
So what is AOL's outlook for the future of access?
Our goal is so when people come into AOL this summer, that this is history, and that's going to be a challenge.
For CNET Central, I'm Justin Gunn.
That's assuming there will still be subscribers this summer. A recent News.com reader poll found that only about a third of folks think AOL's unique content is worth sticking it out with the service. Meanwhile, other internet service providers are taking advantage of the online king's crisis, inviting disgruntled AOL members to quit and sign up with them.
Cookies. They're popping up all over the internet these days. Now, we're not talking Oreos and chocolate chip. These are the kind that store information about you in your own computer. Here to explain is our own reporter, Hari Sreenivasan. And Hari, first, tell us exactly what is a cookie.
Well, Gina, it's a real simple concept. Basically, it's a way for a website to store pieces of information about your browsing tastes and preferences on your hard drive. Common examples are sites that require a name and a password to gain access. You type the information in once, and then the next time you visit that site, you don't have to re-enter it.
Now, there are other reasons and uses for these cookies, right?
There certainly are, and they're raising a bit of controversy when it comes to a user's privacy. Websites can not just save information regarding your preferences, but information regarding you. Those are the types that have companies like Pretty Good Privacy and people like Mark Elrod concerned.
People shouldn't have the right to collect information about you without your permission. You know, you should be given notification, and you should be allowed the chance to give consent.
The information he's talking about is the type most sites are starting to require these days.
If the site has a cookie set on your machine and you fill out a form with personal information such as your name, address, phone number, email address, they are then able to say, okay, now this cookie and this profile is associated with this actual person.
And websites are using these ID markers to start tracking individuals and their surfing habits within a site. Information that helps distinguish visitors to a site can be worth a great deal in marketing and advertising dollars.
Cookies is actually a really good way to say, this is, this stream of clicks through the website is one person. This other stream of clicks through the website is this other person.
Brian Behlendorf ought to know. He's the Chief Technology Officer for Organic Online, a web design firm whose clients include some of America's largest companies. He says advertisers can use information about a person's surfing habits to help target ads to them better.
If I've expressed an interest somehow in wanting to get information about computers, I'm probably much more likely to respond to an ad for a new Pentium Pro than somebody who's already bought a machine and isn't really in the market for one.
But there is a new trend on the horizon, a way for the same technology to begin tracking your surfing habits between sites. Now, since a cookie can be attached to just about any file on a page, it can also be attached to an ad banner, which may be served from a company other than the site you're visiting. For example, if you were to check your cookies file, you may find one from DoubleClick.net, an ad vendor who's sending you a cookie through an ad, regardless of which site you actually visit. So let's say you visit one site with an ad banner served from DoubleClick. They can place a cookie that identifies your computer. If you go to a different site with an ad being served by DoubleClick again, your ID remains the same. But now they have the information on two sites that you went to.
This information is being passed behind the user's back without them knowing that all this marketing data is being collected.
That's why PGP is coming out with their latest product called the Cookie Cutter, a filtering software surfers can use to reject cookies or select the ones they don't mind receiving, but most importantly, giving them, the surfer, the option to make the choice. Most browsers have a feature where you can elect to be notified when a site is attempting to place a cookie into your computer. But if you surf on any regular basis, this feature can get pretty old pretty fast. Don't forget, most sites use cookies for nothing more than personalizing your web experience. For example, CNET's own News.com uses cookies to let you customize the news you read. So they aren't all bad by any means.
But still, what if I would like to erase all this and I go and I delete the cookies.txt file on my computer?
Well, you better plan on doing that about every day or so, because the sites which set cookies are very persistent. They'll keep trying to put the cookie onto your page when they see that the previous ones are history.
Okay, well, thanks a lot, Hari. If you'd like to know more about cookies or the software that Hari mentioned, you can find it all at cnet.com. Now, don't go away, because when we come back, a sneak peek at the hottest high-tech nightclub to hit the map, a virtual venture from Steven Spielberg. And if you're looking for adventure, head out on the highway. We go traveling on this week's Best of the Web.
It's time once again for CNET Central to bring you up to date on stories making headlines in the digital world. Microsoft's Internet Explorer browser has been plagued with security holes, at least 3. Now there's an all-purpose patch for the problem. It's at Microsoft's website. Without the fix, the Explorer bugs leave your computer open to any website operator who wants to run programs on the sly, send email, or damage software on your hard drive. The flaw affects Explorer versions 3.0 and 0.1 for Windows 95 and Windows NT 4. Last week, we told you about Microsoft Network canceling nearly half of its TV-type programming. Now, America Online's announced it's giving online shows a go. AOL plans to launch 15 shows this year as part of a new entertainment division it's putting together. It'll be run by NBC's former entertainment chief, Brandon Tartikoff. In other AOL news, the provider threw some investors for a loop last week when it misreported over-the-counter stock quotes. A glitch in AOL's stock ticker threw share figures off by a few decimal points, reportedly driving some misinformed members to sell off stock. And despite its recent traffic problems, AOL has a big new marketing campaign in the works for this spring. The service is looking to take on 2 million new members. There's another strike underway in the battle of the Internet providers. Last month, BiggerNet announced it's offering lifetime net access for a one-time only fee. Now J3 Communications is offering free unlimited net access to netizens who'll use the company's long-distance service. Its rates are competitive with the larger long-distance carriers. Rock music is rolling onto the net big time with a new comprehensive concert website called Jam TV. Here you can catch Dave Matthews and more than 1,000 other rockers in webcast concerts in the coming year. Log on for backstage interviews, performance reviews, concert tickets, and music merchandise. A new breed of interactive gaming centers is taking off this weekend in Seattle. They're from famed director Steven Spielberg. GameWorks is making its debut with 30,000 square feet of the most advanced interactive gaming technology to date. It's a theme park scale nightclub with virtual reality sports and multiplayer and online games. There are 100 GameWorks planned to open worldwide over the next 5 years. The next one is slated for Las Vegas. To find out more about these stories and get all the latest news from the digital world, the place to go is cnetsnews.com.
Thanks, Richard. It is now time for a bit of viewer mail. Now, we know things can get pretty confusing in this rapidly changing digital world, but help is on the way. As a matter of fact, she's right next to me. Here with us now is Sofie Formica with the Fact File.
Thanks, Gina. Well, security on the net is an ever-growing concern for both companies and individuals, and that's what this week's question is all about. JLS Bandy writes, what is a firewall? I signed up for a service and was asked if I had a firewall. I couldn't answer the question. Well, firewalls are all about protecting information, most usually within a large company concerned about its confidential data. Companies with an internal network will often also link it to the outside world. A firewall is set up between the two to prevent outsiders from getting in or employees from sending data out. Firewalls also help in preventing viruses by limiting software, video files and other information from coming into the network. And sometimes they're also used to govern bandwidth, preventing large files from being moved in or out, slowing down the network. Now, in cruising around the net, you may be asked from time to time whether you are behind a firewall. And that's because all of this gatekeeping will seriously affect the size and type of data you can download. But for most people accessing the net from home, firewalls aren't something you're likely to have to deal with. Now, if you're confused about any of the terms or technologies we feature here on CNET Central, we want to help. So send your question to the Fact File at cnet.com or through regular snail mail to the Fact File at 150 Chestnut Street, San Francisco, California, 94111. And if you want to know more about firewalls or the internet security, you can head on over to cnet.com and you'll find those Fact File addresses and each week's question and answer.
Stay with us because just ahead, we get our hands on the latest in foot gear for your computer and put them to the CNET test. And we'll go inside the virtual worlds of the web with the next generation in 3D technology.
The Best of the Web is brought to you by MCI One. Life just got simpler.
Ready for a road trip? We got the route mapped and the sites picked out, but forget the car, because the road we're talking about is the Info Highway, and the sites are good enough to make this week's Best of the Web. First, we join Mark, Megan, and Marvin the Road Dog on a trip across America. After their house burned down in 1993, this fearless threesome took to the road and cyberspace in their Phoenix One. Now you can keep up to date with them and their wild adventures on the web. Through digital journals and an interactive slideshow, you'll explore interesting eats, meet new friends, and visit some pretty cool places. And although some of these stops are your typical tourist traps, it's really the smaller, more quirky areas that make this website worth a look. Now, one place Mark and Megan won't want to miss on their journey is the Experience New Orleans website. Loaded with comprehensive travel information, the Big Easy is made tourist-friendly at this site. Jam over to the birthplace of jazz, take a tour of some New Orleans cemeteries, and dive into some Louisiana swamps. But most importantly, you won't want to miss their extensive coverage of Mardi Gras '97. Get ready for the big event with party planning, lodging info, and video highlights from last year's bash. And for more New Orleans fun, check out the Big Easy's favorite author, Anne Rice, with a visit to her official homepage. This site offers everything imaginable for the Anne Rice aficionado. Take a tour of her Creole cottage on St. Charles Avenue, or her most recent book tour for Servants of the Bones. You can even get the scoop on future novels and CD-ROM projects. For more Best of the Web, head to CNET.com, where we also visit the Internet Underground Music Archive and an online store for purchasing rubber chickens.
Thanks, Gina. Even surfing the best of the web, you can get a little tired of clicking the left arrow, the right arrow, and those hyperlinks. So, Desmond Crisis is here from CNET Labs with a couple of solutions for those who would rather have their slippers do the walking.
Yeah, that's right. The ways to use your feet on the internet. These are the rudder control system from Thrustmaster for flying planes, and Richard has the no-hands mouse for just about everything else.
Now, I'm still new. I've just been using this for a few minutes, so it's a little awkward yet, but let me explain. If you want the cursor to go up and down, you move your toes and heel back and forth. You wiggle left and right, and the cursor goes left and right. The left pedal is for clicking. The right mouse button is the heel. The left mouse button is the toes. I will click with the left mouse button now, and watch what happens on these menus in Netscape Navigator. I can move back and forth pretty much. Well, I'm still rough at this, but you know, it's not that hard to get used to.
Yeah, and it's even better for real applications. Aside from the browser, it's great when you're hammering away on any document or your email or whatever, and you realize you've messed up somehow, you misspelled something. You just go ahead and use your foot to go back to it and leave your hands right over the keyboard and just keep hammering away.
I'll have to take your word for that. Now, on the Thrustmaster, that's more for fun, and this is pretty much only for flight simulators.
Yeah, that's right. Just for planes, but every plane has them. Most computers don't, so it's a huge advantage. Richard, use your no-hands mouse to turn it on.
Get you started here. Now, move the rudder with your foot left and right, and let's see what happens to this airplane.
Okay, now you're looking at the airplane from the back. I'll level it out with the joystick here. I'll push in the right rudder, and you can see it banks off to the right or to the left.
Now, imagine you could make much more quicker moves this way. Yeah. Is it a real advantage against an opponent as a game player?
Absolutely. It gives you so much more maneuverability, and it's a real natural-feeling airplane control.
How much?
This is $149.95, the rudder control system from Thrustmaster, and the no-hands mouse has a street price of $199.95.
Now, that's steep. It takes some getting used to, but I guess if you have carpal tunnel syndrome or something which prevents you from using your hands, it's the only way to go.
And it's cheaper than therapy.
All right, more information on both at cnet.com on the World Wide Web. Desmond, thanks once again.
Thank you.
There's a revolution underway on the web, one that has the potential to change forever how we think about and interact with the online world.
Called three-dimensional virtual worlds, their popularity continues to grow, and they are fast becoming common sights. We asked CNET's Ron Reagan to check out some of these 3D sites and tell us what's going on.
3D worlds, they've become some of the hottest places to hang out on the internet. There's a lot of competition out there between the creators of 3D worlds, so we paid a visit to one of the virtual chat leaders, Worlds Incorporated, to find out what life is like in their virtual space.
Why 3D? What's so compelling about 3D?
Well, what 3D gives you is the ability to see other users on the site with you, so you can actually develop a relationship with someone online, see them, interact with them, and really have a fully immersive and exciting experience.
To get into these virtual 3D landscapes, you must first go to their website at www.worlds.net and download their special browser, Active Worlds. You can't just see these 3D worlds on Netscape or Internet Explorer. Once you get this downloaded into your computer, all you have to do is click twice to drop into virtual reality.
All right, Danny, take me on a little 3D journey here.
Sure.
How do we get into these worlds?
This particular world is called the Gate. And from this world, you can get to all kinds of different worlds that are currently online. Currently, there's 48 worlds.
Including a TV.com world.
Look at that.
Within Alpha World, users are welcome to build on any open plot of land they can find. There are over 200 objects to choose from in the directories.
Clearly, you have to develop a certain amount of savvy with this stuff before
Yeah.
you can just start building things.
Yeah, it's amazing how quick people catch on.
If you're new to the worlds, you may want to explore what exists already before you decide what you want to build. For example, you can take a peek at virtual Yellowstone Park.
So Yellowstone National Park, or virtual Yellowstone, was created by a company called...
Let's not confuse the two.
Let's not confuse them, yeah. One will
say
get
you've been here for too long.
One you'll get eaten, and the other one you're pretty safe.
Within the park, you can explore the magma chamber as well as seeing what Old Faithful looks like from the inside out.
Dangerous to go near the geyser.
Feel like talking back? Well, 3D lends itself nicely to the world of chat. There are many different areas to chat in, but I found some great advice in the Transcends world.
Where can I get a good pizza around here? We'll see just how savvy these people are. Yeah, good question. See, already you talk pizza, you get people.
You're gonna get a response.
Get people interested.
Throw something out there about beer now, and I think you got it.
Though you might think these virtual worlds are all American, there's actually so much interest from people around the globe that they've begun to create worlds that speak languages other than English, such as Spanish World. So what is this 3D virtual worlds craze really all about?
It is the multi-user experience. It is the ability to explore and discover something that someone else has created. 3D itself doesn't really make the difference. It's what's in there.
Reporting for CNET Central, I'm Ron Reagan.
Thanks, Ron. Now, if you want to get into one of these 3D worlds and find out what it's all about yourself, we've made it easy for you.
All it takes is one stop at our site, cnet.com. We put together a list of links to all the places Ron showed you and more, and we'll also get you the software you'll need to experience these extra-dimensional spaces.
Now, for the more practical-minded, cnet.com is also the place to go for help with the just-released Microsoft Office 97. We have got 97 tips and tricks to help you make the most of this massive and not so inexpensive Office suite.
That's it for CNET Central. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week.
Thanks for joining us this week on CNET, the digital domain.